Real news. Honest and fun political talk weekly on the line 90.7 FM. Welcome back, everyone, to Real News Uncensored. We've been, unfortunately, having to do another uncensored version because of our predicament.
Hi. This is Dictator Phil, as you may or may not know. And so we've been on a spring break. And so we had a little time off. And you guys might have... I was hoping that things would get better, while the time... And for us personally, things have gotten better. We got to do a lot of cool stuff, on our own individual lives. But outside of our individual bubbles, things have just gotten progressively worse. Would you all agree?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Where do we even start? This has been crazy. Like, the whole thing has been crazy.
Yeah. To be more specific, basically, the date for me to go back on air has passed, where my suspension has been lifted, but I technically still can't go back on now because my show needs to be approved. And I'm not going to say any bad or good things because I don't know all the info. I'm going to be very fair because I'm honest and real with people, like I always am. But I've had poor communication with the staff at the station, and I got through a little bit to the point where they would schedule a vote. It sounds like they're going to do it from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting for word back. I've asked multiple times for updates, haven't gotten anything. And that's just I'm not saying this as a complaint. I'm just saying this as a fact. This is what's happened. And I'm going to keep talking to them, see what happens, but we're going to go back on air. No matter what it takes, we're going to go back on because my membership has been reactivated. My swipe access to the station will be given back soon, is what I've been told. And my show may or may not come back, but if not, we'll deal with that. We'll find a way.
We're going to reserve judgment right now.
Yes.
Okay. So for right now, we'll do this week.
We're
going to entertain. We're just going to entertain you the way that we have for the last couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week after that.
I got my Frappuccino here. That's not an advertisement. Just saying, I got my Frappuccino.
I'm telling you.
You've got your Red Bull.
We're not on air. You can advertise here.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I don't want to advertise for Starbucks. They're racist, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to.
And you got the girliest drink out of there. It's like buying an apple tea at the bar.
Hey, I don't buy girly drinks.
Except the Frappuccino. What flavor of a frappe did you get?
Coffee.
You just got the regular Frappuccino?
Yeah. I'm a simple man with simple taste.
I didn't know they even offer that. Like, does it taste good?
Yeah, that's why I keep drinking it. It's one of the few things I actually like that's coffee related. When I just passed my girly the other second, she was mocking me because she had like a massive like Starbucks like coffee. I forget what it was. She already drank through the whole thing, and I'm slowly sipping my frap away.
This is school. It's school, of course. People are going to be sucking down coffees and Red Bulls like crazy.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do.
I'm learning. I'm sorry.
If you want the best frozen coffee, you have to go to, the Chick-fil-A. Those people, their frozen coffee, their frosty coffee, it's like a milkshake. I love that.
Oh, really?
It's like crack. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that out. Drinks, I think that's why I like this. But...
You'll get used to the hot one day, because I do love that when I go into work. I have that nice, and we have disgusting coffee at work. Like, it's one of those like strange syrupy mixtures. It's like it's not instant coffee, but it kind of is. It's like this little syrup thing, and they put in a machine that looks like the thing that you put the milk in if you ever worked at a milkshake place. It's the same exact concept except for without the ice cream, like how they have the milk dispensers in there, and you just kind of what they have the dining halls, but instead of milk, you get like coffee, and they shoot it with like hot water, and I guess they mix it somewhere. Like, it'll shoot the hot water and the syrup into it, and it'll mix in whatever proportions, and it tastes like ass. It's like the Vlad of coffees, but does the job like Vlad.
I'll let you speak for that because I don't know anything about Vlad. But yeah, I enjoy this coffee because it gets my energy up because I'm exhausted today. So, and I wanted to give you guys an entertaining program. I didn't want to give you guys the Jeb Bush show. I wanted to give you guys the high energy show.
You went low blow with the Jeb Bush there.
Oh, I always do. Fucking Jeb.
Jeez.
I wreck him every day. He deserves
so violent today. What's going on?
Well, I've been having to deal some blows to other people, so it's been an interesting week to say the least. I mean, I'll keep personal stuff personal, but
metaphorical blows. You're not actually blowing them.
Yeah, an eye for an eye, dickhead.
Oh God, nah, it's just been crazy. But
did you hear like Jeb Bush was already weighing in on 2020?
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
No, I don't think he was
shit up like that. That ain't cool.
No, he wasn't going to join in, but he said that he was hoping a Republican can go against Trump in the primary. So, like, are you going to fucking do this again, Jeb?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. Like, I think everyone would love to go and see you try again.
It's like, stop. Just stop. Just look, you had an awesome run, just chill the fuck out, right?
You already ran the worst campaign ever. Should I be posing?
Well, did you see that? Did you see that picture of him on Twitter? Like, he posted a picture of this gun he bought, and he was like, "Oh, cool, I'm conservative," but people thought he was gonna kill himself.
Oh my God!
They had a genre on YouTube. They might still be there called Jebcore, and it was like all these depressing songs and then like pictures of the Jeb Bush campaign, and it was like they messed with the words. Like if you know the who was that guy, the country singer guy who did the Ring of Fire? I'm blanking on his name. Johnny Cash. They had the one where he did the 9 Inch Nails cover, and then they replaced the words with that with like stuff about Jeb Bush's campaign, and it would sound pretty good,
Yeah, that's. What was I saying? You went. I got off track for a second in my mind.
We go off track a lot. So it's
I know. It's just my mind is goofy.
It's nothing new.
Oh yeah. What I was gonna say is like Jeb already ran the probably the worst presidential campaign of all time. Like, does he really want to try and top that, make it even worse? I don't know if it's possible, but I did think it was funny when Trump bought.
No. Jeb Bush will make himself the proverbial hold my beer guy. Be like, you can't do any worse. Hold my beer, goddamn it. Let's go.
What does he even do now? I don't think he's governor of Florida anymore.
Nah, he's just looking for a job. I remember they were showing on like I think it was on like one of the award shows. They jokingly had him driving a fucking Uber. I was like, I could see it.
He's probably asking W for allowance money.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you ever seen his wife? Like, Jeb's wife? It's just like,
No.
Like, you were one of the most, you're like, Jeb Bush, you say what you will, but you're from like a hugely successful family. You're governor of Florida. Yeah. And then, the wife is just like, not governor, not what I'd go and pick, not the cream of the crop.
Yeah. He doesn't have high standards. Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe it was like an arranged marriage because I don't think he actually knows how to talk to people.
I could see it. You guys think I'm bad?
His family was like probably back, HW was like, okay, George, we think you have good potential. We'll get you a good wife. Here we go. The other one, then there's Jeb. Okay, we found this girl off of Craigslist.
Oh my God, she's like fucking half his height.
Yeah, probably found her like who was it? What was it? John McAfee's wife was a literal prostitute.
Yeah.
He probably looks better.
I mean, hey.
Hey, yeah.
That John McAfee guy, I would have like.
He's fucking nuts. Like, he's genuinely crazy.
He's the only one who gives a shit about cybersecurity, and he's just like his ads. Like, if Trump wasn't in there and he actually ran, I would vote for John McAfee.
I couldn't. I can't vote for libertarians.
Dude, he was cool. He like had the he was like saying "fuck you, McAfee software." He was making fun of like the company's like trademark. If you see his YouTube page, and he was like talking like he had like guns and shit. He was pretty cool. He's a cool guy with a gun, not like Jeb, where you think he's gonna be the next like shooter.
Well, speaking of shootings, terrible segue. Well, I I didn't expect this to be that big of a deal, and I heard the initial reports, but there was a shooting in New Zealand in, I think, 2 mosques. I'm not going to give away the body count. You can all see that. I don't think we should be giving the shooter more of what he wanted. But there are a lot of people.
It's not like the mainstream media isn't giving him enough of glory.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I really want to talk about this because there was a lot of people killed, and this was a guy that put out a manifesto before he did his thing, did it, and he live streamed it with a GoPro on his chest. Pretty fucked up shit. And his political affiliation, because this was obviously an act of terrorism, is something the mainstream media has been reporting inaccurately because either they're lazy, stupid, or intentionally trying to mislead us. Because he said that he wanted, quote, no part, unquote, of conservatism. He identified as, quote, an eco-fascist, unquote.
Probably an Antifa member.
No. He wanted a white ethno-state. He didn't like Trump. And he's even, maybe he could be controlled opposition, you could argue. I don't know. But I'm just going off of what he told us because he said he would use firearms to, quote, gain extra media coverage, unquote.
Well, he's right because guess what? He gained extra media coverage. If he blew up something with like a truck bomb, do you think he would still be talking about this today?
Well, exactly. And what did the New Zealand Prime Minister say after this? We're going to ban semi-automatic guns.
Yeah.
Or was it rifles or guns in general?
I heard semi-automatic. I'm not sure if it was.
I'll look it up.
Weapons or rifle, whatever. I don't know. I like that. When I saw the reasoning behind apparently this guy's.
They said semi-automatic weapons.
Well,
Shit.
yeah. The reasoning behind this guy's attack apparently was he wanted to sow more division.
Yep.
Yeah, acceleration.
Yeah. And my opinion was like, well, shit, the mainstream media has already beat you to that punch.
Yeah.
Good luck there.
Well,
see, the media is fueling his fire. He admits the first thing he wanted to go do is get attention, so he wanted to do acceleration, and that's exactly what they're giving to him.
Yeah.
Because why are we talking about this in America? This has nothing to do with America. This is another country. Like, why is this even a thing? We have shootings over here all the time. They just want to have more stuff to go and throw down our face to go make us do stuff when it's not even in our country.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is also he as crazy as this guy is, he made some plays that were, I don't want to say smart, but were strategic in the sense that he got what he wanted. For example, he said Candace Owens was his inspiration. Even though this guy is basically an alt-right fascist.
Yeah, this dude wants white superiority.
Yeah.
And yet he's like, hey, this African-American conservative is my inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
He's doing that so that now the media's going to go, oh, Candace Owens is leading to the rise of white supremacy. This is Trump's America 2019, And then, it sounds fucking dumb to us, but to fucking dumb fucks out there, they're like eating this shit up and believing. The NPC audience.
There's a lot of idiots in this around here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he wanted to do, was them to say this shit, 'cause he knows that. And he's like a fucking 4chaner going fucking, too real.
Like, have you been if you've been paying attention to the chans lately, they've been talking about this theory called acceleration. Because some of them, not all the people on 4chan or 8chan or even Poll, they want to get there's a portion of people on there who want to go and make things so bad that people will finally quote unquote wake up.
Yeah.
And one way they've been trying to do this is through the Yang Gang, because the Yang guy, that's why they're throwing some support to him, because they want to go make things so bad in America that people will rise up and stop things.
That's autistic.
Well, because in their minds, they vote, some of them, they originally voted for Trump, but then they got upset that nothing was happening, so they want to go the completely opposite way and have the people rise up. I mean,
that's dumb. That makes no sense.
Well, here's where they're getting their idea from. If you give, it's like the frog in the kettle, conspiracy thing. If you put a frog in a kettle and you slowly heat it up, it'll like be, it'll just, by the time it realizes it's in the kettle, it'll be so far cooked you won't be able to do anything. If you go and just turn the heat up in the kettle, the frog will jump out. And that's what they're trying to go and do. They want to go and turn the heat up so much that, the frog in the kettle will jump out. And that's why they're voting for Yang Gang, and that's probably why this guy thought this was a good idea, even though it's not. And I think
look what happened.
I think accelerationism is ultimately dangerous.
Yep.
But,
Yang Gang sounds like an Asian porn.
You would make that connection there. No, I know. Yang Gang, I think it's a funny meme and all that, but the guy's never going to get elected. The DNC won't allow it, and he doesn't have the charisma, and he's very dry. Like, that goes back to the charisma thing, but he's pretty dry, and it's...
Well, yeah, but he's offering $1,000 a month to everyone.
I know.
Incels who don't have a job.
Hey, not everybody can be Jazzhands Beto O'Rourke, okay?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was so funny.
I'm running for president. Like, oh, come on.
Okay, I want to mention something that I thought of immediately when Trump said this, and because Scott Adams said the same thing right after. Beto O'Rourke just announced his 2020 run. That was another big story this week, and he put out a video. And when they asked Trump about it, he said to the media, he said, quote, "I think he's got a lot of hand movement." I started laughing. Even the people in the room started laughing. And he said, "I've never seen so much hand movement. Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?" And the best part about when Trump says this stuff, because he is so good at this persuasion game, this whatever you want to call it. First of all, he points to a visual, and then he makes you go, "Wait, does Beto have crazy hand movement?" And so what do? You watch his hands. And what did I do? I watched his hands, and I couldn't stop watching them. And I was like, he's right. He does this with a lot of things, Trump. He'll make you think, is such and such happening? And then now you can't not see it. That's what's called.
And now I'm trying to find other names to call him. I tried to call him one time, like wacky waveable arm flailing Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah. Well, he just mocks him so effectively because then it makes Beto look silly.
Just call him Beto. That's pretty much in the name. That's what I'd call him if I was president.
Well, the problem is the term beta it's not a good persuasion term because it has no visual and it has no, it's not a word that everybody really understands. Like, I think alpha is what people understand more. Like, I didn't know what beta meant till literally last year. And most people never use that term except people like us. So, like, for example, Trump used the term for Jeb. He used low energy Jeb. Very effective branding on his part because low energy is, one, a term that hasn't been used in politics before. Two, because that gives it uniqueness. Two, it's visual. You can imagine low energy as somebody's tired and sleepy. And three, that's what Jeb was like. Low energy. So every time you see Jeb, you think low energy. And he would use it all the time, and it creates that confirmation bias. Every time Jeb does something that's a little tiresome and non-energetic, you go low energy. And that's what happened with Beto. Every time you see him now, you see his fucking hand movements. I don't know what nickname Trump's gonna give him. He might call him like Crazy Hands or Wavy Hand. I don't know.
Jazz-Hands is an awesome one.
Yeah, I don't know what he will do. Because that's something you gotta think about. Because creating these insults takes a lot.
How about Bailey O'Rourke for anybody who's into pro wrestling? So Bailey's this chick, and she comes out to the ring, and WWE's probably gonna sue me, whatever. But she comes out, with these wacky waveable arm flailing tube men. That's like part of her entrance. So that's why I would call him Bailey O'Rourke. So it'd be like because of the arms.
Yeah. I honestly think...
Okay, corny. Okay. All right.
Hey, I'll give you that one.
I'm trying.
I just can't relate.
I'm freaking trying right now over here. All right?
Yeah.
I appreciate a little bit of support.
This is what happens
I'm throwing
when we
myself
get banned.
out there. Okay?
See, I know. This is what happens when we get suspended. We get depressed and we have to, cave.
Well, no. I mean, we just start getting... inventive, weirdly
creative.
Inventive, I guess.
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah. We go to some interesting rabbit holes. But speaking of Beta, I think he has no chance of winning Because
Oh, some new things came out. Aren't you going to talk about that?
okay, well, we'll talk. Yeah, I'll let you do that in a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish my thought here. But yeah, Kamala. I'm gonna go on record. I've said this multiple times. I'll say it again. Kamala Harris is already the nominee. Donors have already backed her, and the mainstream media has already backed her. So she's set. She's got it. Now they just have to brainwash the public into liking her. But Beta, he has charisma, but the problem with him is he's a straight white male, and the Democratic Party doesn't want that right now. And I know you're gonna say, "Oh, that's sexist and that's racist," and yeah, it is. Their voters shouldn't be deciding based on identity, but they are. It's proven that way. In the midterms, they're all voting women in. They become the party of women now. They've been going hard to get the women vote. All the women wore white at the State of the Union.
Or do you wonder why he's being called Beto?
Was it that thing you sent me? Oh yeah, because he's trying to get the Hispanic. He's trying to get the Hispanic vote.
That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I know. I thought that too because I was like, what kind of name is fucking Beto? And I looked it up, and that wasn't his real name. It was
He's
some
a fucking
Spanish.
beta. That's what he is.
Yeah. And it turns out some a Spanish nickname, and I was like, oh, makes
So
sense.
we got Pocahontas and El Chapo over here. El Chapo. El Chaco, because he's white like chalk.
Yeah. But what were you gonna say? You had some breaking news there.
Oh yeah, so did you hear about his writings that were recently unearthed about like his murder fantasy?
I saw you sent that to me, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
He's basically like writing these like really creepy ass novels about like murdering kids or something.
Holy shit!
Like it wasn't true, but it was like.
Wait, so he didn't do this?
He didn't kill kids.
Oh,
but he wrote the stories about it.
Well, you know what he did do? He fucking was in a drunk driving accident. He almost killed somebody.
He's from Texas. The Bushes did it. It was pretty common over there.
Oh, they did too.
Oh, George did. He got like 3.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he got like a C in Harvard, but he still graduated.
Yeah, I do. My mother always reminds me of that. Yeah, but I think Beto. Let me see if I can find Wikipedia. Yeah, but I thought it was something like he literally almost killed a person. He either hit them or something. I forget. I don't want to spread fake news. But also, I want to mention something else about his campaign that is dreadfully awful. It is probably one of the worst campaign moves you will ever see. If you look at his website, his slogan, his logo, I meant, his merchandise, his signs, what is the color scheme? Black and white. That is the dumbest thing you could ever do for marketing a campaign. Look at Trump's campaign. Look at Trump's logos. Look at Trump's hats. Look at all the Trump stuff. Look at even the Obama stuff. Look at the Obama logo. What colors do all these use? Red, white, and blue. It's a very simple reason why. These are American colors. You want to look patriotic, and it does some priming in you, and it does some maybe in you, and it does some maybe on you of inspiring patriotism, getting you to vote more, and blah 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 blah. I can't believe Beta made the most rookie, dumbest campaign move ever by using 2 colors, black and white. Which one of those colors, black, what do we associate black with? We associate with darkness, evil, and death. Like you don't wear white when you go to good thing I didn't say this on air. But the thing is, you don't go to a funeral wearing white. You wear black. So he's associating his campaign with a negative color or a color that we use for darkness generally. And then white, that's one of the American colors, but it's only one of them. It's not all 3. So it's like I can already tell that his team is terrible with marketing. And Bernie's is too, because his fucking slogan was, I'm already forgetting. I think it was not me, us. Stupidest fucking slogan in the world. He literally says not me.
Oh shit, dude! I just found some more breaking news about his writings. Apparently, one of his writings was about like running over children with his car. So
what?
This is really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so he already has experience with running over people. Maybe that's because of this, or vice versa. And then he also made a song with the lyrics, what was this? Wax my ass, grub my balls in a punk in 1988. This sounds like something from fucking South
Oh
Park.
yeah, he was in a punk rock band. I'll give him that. That's cool. The being in the band, not the song necessarily.
Beto O'Rourke. He'll run over the competition.
Make them scrub his balls.
Yeah, he'll kick him in the ass.
He'll beat
That's
you
not
with
gonna help
a
with the Hispanic
skateboard.
bit though. No, punk rock's a pretty white genre, like not Hispanic really.
Yeah. Well,
That leads more credence to the fact that he's not actually Hispanic, even though he wants people to believe it.
Well, yeah, that's a good point you bring up. I think that will kill his authenticity using the name Beto. Because, I mean, the one thing that helps it makes it unique, because not many people have a name fucking Beto. But the problem then is that it looks like pandering and inauthentic, because now he's trying to pander to Hispanics, but he's not really, Hispanic in any way. But yeah.
But like, what's with Democrats and faking their ethnicities?
But because the Democratic ideology as a whole is fake. Everything they stand for is frickin' fake. Like, you have no, like everything you look at, and all of these people that have come before you, right, are just not authentic people. They're just not. Like, it's like, oh, you're gonna. These are rich. These people that are anti-immigrant, like these people that are like, oh, open borders, all that stuff. They live in gated communities. It's like, come on, come
Full
on.
Shit. I that's stuff that bothers me. I remember, I just saw a video recently of Charlie Kirk. He was at some sort of event, and he started like getting really angry at fucking Shank. And I think Charlie, you could argue, overreacted a bit, because he's like, I practice what I preach, Shank. I live, or I forget what he was saying, but he was getting really fucking angry at Shank. But at the same time, I understand where he's coming from, where these liberals tend to be inauthentic and not live by their principles, and they're full of shit. Whereas people on the right tend to literally practice what they preach. And that's what he was saying to Shank. And I understand that anger, especially when, like look, fucking me. I get called, like, we got kicked off because of a quote-unquote racial slur. And I've said it before, but, like, I'm not saying this to pander. But I am not a racist. No matter how many times I say that, though, people don't believe me. And I practice what I preach. I'm not a racist, and I do not racist things. But no, you still get called it. But if the left says they're not racist, but they're, we still, discriminate against Asians going into Harvard and discriminate against whites with affirmative action. But we're not racist, guys. Like, and they get a fucking way with it. They get a free pass. Except, the right, of course, resists them on that. But I always just can't stand that. I'm getting fucking ranty already.
My question with Beto, what has he done?
That's his big problem also. He has nothing. Like, he lost. That's what he did do.
He lost in Texas. Like, why even run in Texas?
I thought he was going to wait till next time, honestly. He should, unless he's thinking he can get support now, more coverage, more celebrity status this time, to then run next time around.
What did he do since he ran? Didn't he go on like some soul-searching journey and just kind of bummed around for a year?
Really? I don't know.
He's about as useful as Flint tap water.
That's a good one.
It's just like terrible. There's nothing, because you haven't heard, and you bring up a good point, Alice. Like, you haven't heard anything that this guy has done.
That he's just likable.
Except for his DUI.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That turned me off tremendously. But I would say, though, that I think he is genuine. I think he's a nice guy. But I think he's very, flawed in his ideology, obviously. But I love how in his campaign video, we were watching at the meeting, and he said, we have the problem in our country of immigration. And that's the best problem we could ever have. I was like, what? Fucking what?
Yeah. You know what? They should make, like anytime anything bad happens to somebody with a, at the hands of a undocumented immigrant, they should play that clip. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they should play that clip to them. Like, look, hey, look. I know you got robbed or raped or murdered, or you know your family member got murdered. But look, according to Beto O'Rourke over here, he says that immigration is the best problem to have.
Yeah. I mean, he said that. I was like, oh my fucking God. And Scott Adams said that he's probably going to get mocked by both sides. And I think he's right. Because the left is going to have a little fun with him in one way, and the right will too. Because it's stuff like that just... Oh, I literally laughed when I heard it. I was like, what?
Well, then who else are they going to run? Like, who's their front runner? Like Joe Biden? Like,
no, their front runner is Kamala. Like I said,
what does she do?
I think is she a senator? I forget. She's from California. But again, but here's the thing. I said before, like, she checks all the right boxes for the current Democratic Party. She's a woman. She's African American, or at least half or something. She was a district attorney of San Francisco, attorney general of California, and currently a United States senator of California. But she checks all the boxes. She has likability, and like I said, she's got the donors and the mainstream media behind her already. So she's already a nominee. It's just a matter of time of brainwashing people to vote for her. And the Republicans tried to do that with Jeb. They tried to do the exact same thing, but the X factor of Trump came in, and the Democrats don't have that X factor yet.
Oh no, they got the Yang, and what's going to happen? I hope. Here's the perfect thing that'll happen. You'll get another Bernie Sanders situation with Yang.
Oh,
and that's because he is he's never going to win a primary.
Oh, never.
And, with Yang and Bernie out there, it's going to make people fucking leave the Democrat Party and try to form some super socialist society, and it'll just go and fuck over themselves. Because what you're going to get is the old school Democrats, probably more like a Kamala Harris, establishment versus like the socialists. And that's going to divide up votes.
Yeah, that's what the right needs to be talking about more is what's going to happen to the Democrats now, because you have a civil war starting between the establishment moderates and the new anti-establishment socialists, your AOCs, your Betos, your Bernie Sanders. But it's kind of all started with Bernie and create AOC and Beto. I mean, Beto's more moderate, but he's got the universal healthcare, free healthcare sort of thing going for him. So that is what people need to be focusing on. That's why I keep warning people that AOC, I get that the right thinks she's dumb, or I think her policies are dumb too, but she's the biggest threat to Republicans currently. It's 2024 is going to be the interesting year, and that's going to be.
I think she did some major SEC violations. So
she did, but
especially with paying her boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cuck boyfriend.
And both parties kind of hate her at the moment, so she might end up that might actually stick because the Democrats see what she's doing and they're afraid.
They are, but she's got strong support from the socialist wing, and I don't think that FCC stuff's going to matter at all. I think it's just going to be somebody else in her campaign's going to get the shit for, like that Indian guy, I forget his name, but they show him in all the pictures when they're talking about this. That was, I think, her campaign manager. He'll probably get the hit for it. And they're not going to get jail time. I mean, fucking...
No, she's not going to get jail time, but whatever credibility she had, because she campaigned that, that's going to be completely fucked.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It'll be. I think that's what she should be worrying about, so definitely something to keep an eye out for. But speaking of credibility getting fucked, there was a college admissions scandal that broke at the early end of this week where 50 people were indicted for paying collectively $25 million to college admission counselors who would then bribe people in the college, college officials to fudge the numbers, cook the books, or cheat for them. So they had people cheating on SATs and ACTs where they would change the grades, or they'd even have people come in and do the test for them. And they even had some students getting designated as athletes so they could get into some big schools. I think Yale was on the list, some other big schools. And some were going as far as to Photoshop their children on athlete photos to show that they were athletic. It was pretty fucking bad. And some actors were a part of the scandal, and actors from Full House was a part of the scandal. And it's a pretty big deal, but it's honestly not surprising. That's the bad part, to be honest, that we kind of expected that you give the college some money and then they're either nicer to you or they full on fucking bribe people and cheat. But, as college kids here, we can definitely reflect on this because it's hard getting into these schools and you have people gaining the system. And it's frustrating because you work your ass off and then some asshole with rich-ass parents can just buy their way in, even if they're dumb as fuck. It is extremely unfair.
Well, my question with that, what are they charging the parents with?
That's a good question. I'll look that up.
Because they paid the college counselor guy that they would be the ones who would be really stuck with something.
Well, they were hit too. I think like parents and them were hit. 33 parents charged.
Well, are schools government officials? I thought teachers and admissions, they were just kind of professors.
I think it depends on the school.
And like it's I'm not saying what they're doing is right, but what are they really being charged with?
Let me see. I'll go to Wikipedia.
The ACT and the SATs, they're private exams. They're private companies that run those.
Right,
so
but it was...
That would be breach of contract, if anything.
Yeah. One of the charges I see was... Okay, 2 criminal charges for one was committing mail fraud and money laundering.
Because they use that as a donation. Yeah, that's probably what they got it with. They just gave them the money.
Yeah.
So is Aunt Becky going to jail?
I doubt she'll do any time in jail.
Yeah, you had Yale that was hit by this, University of Texas at Austin, University of California, Berkeley, University of California in LA, Stanford, Georgetown. The parents were hit. Admission fraud, I guess was one of the charges. Testing fraud. I don't know if that's...
Admission fraud, is that even a crime for...
I don't know, honestly.
That's something you could do. I think that'd be more of contract violation because I didn't think, private tests, it's fucked up, but I didn't think that was a government of official thing. It's the SAT and the ACT, they're not administered by the government. Cheat on the ASVAB, that's a government thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the SAT and ACT, that's a private company.
Mm-hmm.
College Board and whoever the hell does the ACT, that's a private company.
Right. Let's see. I can't believe I'm having to go on fake news CNN for this.
Why couldn't they just get their kids the old-fashioned way? Why couldn't you just create the Lori Loughlin College of Liberal Arts at fucking Harvard or something like that via a big donation to the school? Why couldn't you do that? Right?
Because you want to get the tax deduction. That's probably what the big thing is. If you do that, and you make the college of fucking bullshit. In your name, you donate $1 million, and I think you can get in there. That's perfectly legal. It's looked down upon, but if it's a private university, what can you do? They can do whatever the hell they want. But maybe, I don't know. They probably talk to these admissions, and I don't know what the admissions counselor's role in this was. They could have been like, "Oh yeah, we'll get them in." And they didn't say they're doing anything illegal.
Well,
but they might have.
Some of the charges here against this one guy that was one of the big plot masterminds that was, who told CNN site is annoying. Stop CNN.
Are you even on CNN?
I know.
Shit site.
It's a fucking shit site, Bob. Trying to find these charges, these news sites aren't reporting it well. I gotta look for an AP article. They do it best. They said William Rick Singer, a plot to accuse mastermind, allegedly told prospective clients that he create a, quote, side door, unquote, for wealthy families to get their children into top colleges. He was paid a shit ton of money. He pled guilty Tuesday to racketeering conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy, and conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruction of justice. Oh, and yeah. So that's what he was hit with. They said the prosecutor also raised the possibility that students could be charged, and at least one university has said that it will deny admission to applicants connected to the alleged scam. So yeah.
I think it. Look, for some reason, I mean, I don't get the feel that it's that big of a fucking deal. I like it. It is. It obviously it is. But in my heart of hearts, I just get that feeling that it's like,
Yeah.
like it's not the old like. Like are you telling me that's like the only scandal that's going on in college, or is that the worst?
Penn State's had worse.
You know, yeah. I mean, we're still living that one up.
I mean, think about fucking Penn State. We've probably had the two worst scandals at any college in the past like 15 years.
So did you hear? So did you hear Jerry Sandusky? He's opening up a new store downtown.
Oh yeah, what's it called?
No, well he hasn't given the name yet, but the grand so he had a grand opening the other day.
Oh no.
And he had a sale, boys' underwear half off.
Oh. He's probably working at fucking Kohler now, trying to sell showers to people.
Well, you know what you don't hear about in these big scandals, though, is the countless Chinese students who do the same thing.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
Go and take their exam. Like, that's a really big issue, and I only saw, like, one Australian website do it. And I've talked to, Chinese students over here, and it happens even at Penn State, where they'll cheat on tests, and they'll do admissions tests cheating, too. Like, the one guy was telling me they go and have someone do it in, like, Hong Kong, text them all the, like, answers to the test. And it was like an hour delay, so they'd go and study that, and then they'd like ace the test.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big issue.
It is. I just
But
get
no one
that.
talks about that because it's not rich white people.
I mean,
what they did was
it's not
wrong.
like it's like I don't know. It's like I just don't. Maybe I think I just think differently because I'm here, but like. I don't see it as a big deal. Yeah.
No, this is worse.
Yeah,
This is worse.
I
Than
get it. I get it though. I agree with you, but I'm saying I agree with you, just the feeling to me. Like you know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, see, like here's the thing. I understand what you mean, but like let's say you're going to get, brain surgery and then you find out that the brain surgeon never actually went to college. He just paid someone to go and take all his tests for him and go to class. Because there's services that'll do that for you.
Yeah.
How would that make you feel?
No, I get it.
Versus admissions. If they're not smart enough to do the admissions, then they'll fail out unless they, what's more important if they're like having people take their tests for them, in my opinion, like significantly. Because, you could go into any college, doesn't mean, any of the classes there. But if you pay someone to go and take your test for you, well, you're going to graduate with a degree and possibly screw up people's lives and cost companies millions of dollars in lost revenue.
Yeah, I tend to agree on that. There's definitely bigger consequences of faking your tests and not learning shit because, companies will still hire you and you will be incompetent and possibly hurt people and ruin their lives because of your incompetence. And with the Chinese, though, is what's interesting is they're actually kind of hurting their country because I was talking to one who said that most companies here don't hire international students. They have to go back to China where their hiring's high.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Really?
That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what our boy told us, our woke Chinaman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Chinese, but there's a lot of
Because
H1.
he wasn't getting hired.
Yeah, there's
a lot of H1Bs out
Yeah, but
there.
those aren't college kids.
No, well,
I'm talking about international college kids.
I don't know about college kids, but they hire H1B visa.
no,
Yeah, I know.
Maybe not like internship, but actual hire. Yeah. There's international fucking hiring going on.
Well, they do that all the time too, especially with startups. Like they're getting all pissed off because I think Trump wants to change that, so you have to hire American people first.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing. I think that Trump should require that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Like, because right now startups are exempt from that, or it's like, I think they're either exempt or they get some sort. It's not as bad as with the full-on companies. Like, you should go and hire American citizens. That should be your top priority. Like, if you're doing an internship, I can understand, but like, Americans first, and then if you really need someone, and the only people who have that are in like another country, then that's a different thing. But like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, but my free market.
No, that's what I disagree with the libertarians.
Well, no,
on.
Yeah, me too.
Like if you're hiring foreign employees and bringing them here, you're cheating the free. You're cheating the free market.
Oh yeah, that's my problem with it. Yeah, so you're cheating the free market, and undercutting people.
Yeah, because they pay them a lot less, like the contractors usually.
That's why they want it.
And they give that, and they get the businesses give that excuse. Whoa, we don't have. We're trying to hire, but most of these people here aren't qualified. Like, well, I mean, have you?
Well, that's BS too. Because, have you ever seen the job requirements? Yeah. They'll like make these BS job requirements for a lot of jobs. It's like you need to go and have like 5 years, 10 years of experience and all this stuff to go and take an entry level position.
They'll make the international job requirement fucking different. Like,
or the international students are just going to lie on it.
Well, I've been dealing with some bullshit with my major because I went to the people that deal with getting internships here, and they were like, "Oh, do you have any experience in copywriting?" So I'm an advertising major, and the two basic divisions are copywriting and graphics. There's two big. Okay, first, there's two big divisions: the business side and the creative side. And in the creative side, there's copywriting, which is writing slogans, writing information about the product, that sort of stuff. It's basically the word side of it. And then the other side is the graphics. I can do both, but copywriting is definitely something that would be a better suited job. And the guy goes, well, you have to get experience first to get an internship in it. And I'm like, what? So I have to get an internship, which is an entry-level thing when you don't have experience. I have to have experience before that. And I'm like, he's like, well, none of the companies are going to hire you. Well, how do I start? Nobody's going to hire me.
Yeah, see, that's the questions you should have been asking before you even started college. And here's the thing. Like, with a lot of these
bullshit we said, but yeah.
It might be true because I know a lot of people, they end up like getting a college degree and no one will hire them. They want, X amount of years of experience. Like, this is a legitimate problem. They need to have more internships out there.
Mm-hmm. I agree, actually.
And it's tough to go and get them in because, like, how can you afford an unpaid internship if you're on your own?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it creates this catch-22 where you need experience to get a job at a company, and then all the companies want, the experience, and you can't get it from anywhere. And if it's a fucking internship, you might not be able to go and afford your living expenses at that point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there needs to be a way, and I think some of these companies need to just go and suck it up and hire some college grads because, especially in the tech field, like, I know there's a lot of jobs out there that are getting taken by H-1B visas.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really smart people out in America.
Yeah.
They're not targeting them. They're not going there.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, the way I look at it is you hire Americans first, and if there's a labor or I guess what do you call it, labor?
Shortage.
Yeah, labor shortage. I was trying to think of what you'd call it if there are too many jobs. But yeah, better way to put it is just labor shortage. If there is a labor shortage, bring good people in. I don't have a problem with that at all. It's just, like, again, this is why I always point to, for evidence of a uniparty or an establishment where both sides are the same man sort of thing, is immigration. Both sides have not had any comprehensive, true, legit immigration reform because both are bought by big business. It's just the Democrats are more inclined because they're importing future voters with illegal immigrants, and Republicans are bought by big businesses that go, hey, we need cheap labor. We need more of it. Stop it, and that's why they hate Trump mostly.
Yeah, really hurts American citizens. But, what you were mentioning earlier, though, it kind of is a bigger question. Like, they need to go and tell you this shit before you start the major. That you need to go and they need to go and provide you a way for you to get that experience. Or they need to go and tell you to not pick this major if it's, just stop offering it if they can't get, if there's no way or just not offered to you if you don't have any experience advertising. And they don't have any way to give it to you because that's not fair to you.
Yeah, I think part of that comes from, especially these advisors, they get kickbacks when they get certain students enroll in their major to get an internship or to do a job or something. They get little kickbacks. So
And for the most part, these colleges are just cattle farms anyway. They're just trying to push them through.
Yeah.
Get the cattle moving. Keep the money coming in.
Yep. That's very true. But that's why I've switched my minor from a SMEAL business certificate to a IST minor because, one, accounting is that should be my rant, is fucking accounting. But actually, okay. Should I go into my rants now? Should we go into our rant segment?
You go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a good segue now. Yeah. Okay.
Who needs a fucking just fucking rant whenever you want to fucking rant?
Yeah, I know, right?
I know, but I thought it'd be a good segment idea. But okay, yeah, we kind of do rant whenever we want. But what I want to rant about is fucking bullshit majors and bullshit courses. Fucking accounting is the worst class I've ever taken in my life. And I'm not trying to say it to be dramatic. It may sound that way, but it really is. I struggled tremendously with the first exam. I studied my butt off, and I tried really hard, but I just couldn't conceptualize the material. It just didn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. Maybe my brain isn't wired to work that way. I don't know. I just didn't get it. And then I thought, okay, I'll be better next time. And I was learning the material. I'm like, oh, this makes more sense now. I still failed the exam. So 2 exams in a row I failed. And I worked really hard and, fried my brain and was just exhausted. And at that point, I was like, all right, this isn't going to get any better. The professor's a piece of shit. The class is a piece of shit. The way they teach it is shitty. It's awful. It was just the worst class I've ever taken. It's supposed to be, the SMEAL Business School. Oh, we're so prestigious and fancy at Penn State. We have the SMEAL Business School. And yet it was awful. They didn't teach material. They didn't explain it. They just kind of assumed you knew all these terms and where things went and how to do things. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. You're supposed to teach. You're not doing your job. And it's not helping anyone, and I'm failing because of this. And normally I can figure shit out on my own. Couldn't figure this shit out on my own. You tried to help me, and you helped me a lot with some of those homework questions. But I just didn't get it, and I thought this is a waste of time. They conned me into this business certificate. It probably doesn't mean anything. An IST minor is more useful. I actually learn skills, which is what you should be learning in college. And accounting is just absolutely awful. I cannot stand that class. I cannot stand the professor.
It's okay. So I'll say this because I did an internship with an accounting firm. So it's like
man, I feel sorry for you.
Well, it's useful, but I mean, honestly, like I look at you and I'm like, you're probably not an accountant. Okay?
Oh, I would rather
I'm
get
saying,
waterboarded.
And that's fine. Look, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Certain people are meant to do certain shit in this world.
That's how we're
and
wired.
it's not. Yeah, and it's like so. And the part of even going to college, there's a lot of
figuring that out.
The only there's a lot of figuring your shit out, which that's another thing. One of the things that I hate about college is that it's such an expensive place to just change your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if you get into this major and you're like, oh well, I want to get into this major because I think it's the right thing. And I kind of like, maybe I have other motivations for getting into this major. And then all of a sudden you get into it. And it's like, well, it's not for me. And then you decide, hey, you figure out what you have another major that's more your thing, that's more your vibe. But by that time you've already spent a shitload of money and some of these guys have gotten into a shitload of debt to figure it out. Like, and then like, well, what do?
You knock over Red Bulls is what you do.
That's what I do. Take that, Red Bull can.
No, I relate, a lot with you because I know in Alex's case and I guess in your case, you basically both knew what you were going to kind of do. Me, I was completely lost.
Well, no, I mean, I was originally a computer engineering major and then I went to management information systems, which is like, So, I mean, it's like, well, so I did the same thing kind of that you did. Like, it's like, well, I'm not really a fucking engineer. I mean, nothing against it. Like, they're very intelligent people, and I could have probably, bit the bullet and did the engineering degree, but like it wasn't my thing. Like, so, and you just got to figure out what your strengths are, what you're good at, what you can. I mean, maybe you like a certain major that you're in, but you're struggling with it, and then you just kind of keep tagging at it or whatever. But that is a decision that you have to make. And if you want to go to another major or minor, that's totally up to you. But yeah, and of course part of this is too many kids are going into college completely unprepared. Like that's like, I wish they fix the high school system.
How would we fix that issue? How do we make people more prepared for college?
That's something that we've been trying to figure out, Alex and I.
You got
to
fix the high school system. I mean,
I think what I was gonna say, the first thing I would change, because I know you have an idea of this too, Alex. But the one thing I would first change is completely, and this will take years for it to actually happen, is to totally change the curriculum in middle school, high school, elementary school, all the schools. Cut the stupid shit. No more Spanish, no more German, no more French, no more useless shit. You should be teaching public speaking. You should be teaching psychology. You should be teaching Econ 101. You should be teaching persuasion. You should be teaching life skills like how to do taxes and stuff. I don't know when you would be doing these things.
You had me at cut the shit. And everything after that was just like,
No. Hear me out. Hear me out.
All right. Be fair. Let's hear out Sean.
Okay. So, these are all useful skills everybody can use. Look, let's take history, for example, or social studies, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Useful. Honestly, are you going to be using that in your job?
Not unless you're a medieval studies major.
I don't know. Some people.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying we should get rid of that. I'm saying when you get to a certain age, maybe in middle school or high school, you should be teaching them skills like that's more useful for them. Like, example, the life skills class. How do you do your taxes? How do you do an interview? How do you make a resume? Nobody's taught me that until literally this class, last week. But I could have used that fucking long time ago. But, for example, persuasion. You should know how to negotiate things. You should know how to write persuasive emails and letters to your boss or to, coworkers to get stuff done. Public speaking. Most people, the biggest fear in America is public speaking. That should not be a problem at all. That shouldn't be the biggest fear. We should all be good at public speaking, but most people suck at it. That's something that needs to be learned because you're going to need to do that wherever you go. And people would benefit from being good at it before they get forced to get better at it in the workplace.
Well, they do usually have that in college, like public speaking. I know I had to go and take a semester.
Oh, yeah.
Semester of that.
And they had it in my high school, but I think it should be mandated in elementary and middle schools.
I mean, they have a lot of these liberal arts courses that as long as you know how to bash Trump in front of people, you're good. You're good. You'll make it in life, I guess.
But I saw what you mentioned about like the languages, and I feel that I don't know. I feel like that actually should probably be taught more, but that should be done earlier.
When do you use Spanish, French, and German?
Dude, a lot of jobs require they want you to have some other language. Like, when I took Latin, it's a dead language.
Who speaks fucking Latin?
No, but you know what it does help with?
Spanish could be helpful.
Every English word for them, like a bunch of English words, a bunch of Latin bases. I know shit like something with mal, that means it's bad. Like malware, malicious, malignant. That's all from Latin because it comes from this like base Latin word.
Okay, but everybody knows what those terms mean, like malicious. I think what would be a first step is also establishing English as the official national language in America. I don't know why that hasn't happened, but it should happen.
Okay, but I do think it would be useful to go and teach other languages in elementary school because once you're in high school, you're already at disadvantage. Like they should be teaching languages in elementary and middle school, and then cut it out high school unless you want to be a language, like a special major, like a translator or something. That'd be an elective school level.
I could compromise on that.
And I feel like English classes need to be revamped and stop emphasizing the shit that's on the test, like all this bullshit grammar. that like especially in like high school and like middle school especially, I remember it was like all this bullshit English rules. Like, we should know that shit by then pretty well. Like
Yeah.
by 8th grade, that shouldn't be nearly as big of a deal. And like all these bullshit stories, it should be more about more practical things. Like they could go and teach resume writing in the English class, how to go and write business reports in the English class. They could do all that stuff in there. Social studies, I love history, but I don't think is as important as it should be. That should be like, it should
Well,
not be emphasized as much.
well,
I mean, it should be more on like maybe you could do psychology stuff there instead, or I don't even really think psychology is really necessary. Like, is really even necessary. Like, make it more practical, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really know how to make history more practical. It's just kind of like you gotta know it.
yeah.
Like, and my problem though, it was like throughout, at least in America, it was all in elementary school, all American history. Middle school, we had like medieval history, and then American again. High school was American history. Then I did I had a couple electives, and I did like human geography and what was it? The entire U.S. history again, and then like government and politics. So I think they need to go and emphasize more world history, but just emphasize history a lot less. It shouldn't be a core class. It should be you need to go and take a certain amount of these classes to graduate. Because if you want to learn about fucking history, you got Wikipedia. Go on there, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't do enough about trade schools either. Like,
Oh yeah, they need.
yeah, if you like, some people don't want to fucking learn
Oh yeah.
another language, or they don't want to learn that some people are just fine with fixing air conditioners or driving truck or fixing electrical stuff or plumbing, and that's fine.
Yeah,
and that's great.
You need to fill that.
If you want to do that, you don't need extensive education to do it. If you want to go do it, go out there, do it. This is like, and of course, the society has kind of painted us as, if you don't go to college, you're kind of a failure. No,
Well,
not the case.
There is some merit to that, which is I think
it depends on what you want.
It depends.
It depends on the individual. It depends on the individual. But people don't. But people have painted with a broad brush, if you don't go to college, then you're considered a failure in this world. It's a little life's a little bit more complex than that.
Yeah, but I want to emphasize that if you want to become a plumber or a electrician or a painter, go to trade school, save your money, and do that job. But if you want to be working for Apple, if you want to be working for Blue Cross, or so these big companies with big jobs, with big corporate paychecks, you have to go to college. You ain't getting in.
Well, yeah.
That's just reality.
But that depends. But again,
it depends what you're doing.
Yeah. It depends on you.
Yes.
I think it's kind of a supply and demand thing because we have so many people taking college. They feel like they have a college degree to go and work over there now. I think a lot of these jobs, they don't really need college degrees. You could probably get someone either at tech school or even like a boot camp for a lot of the tech, like a lot of the programming stuff, and they'd be just as fine. But the employers need to go and fix that on their end.
Yeah.
However, like I do feel that we need to go and like change how high schools work. I think we need to go and differentiate them. I think we should have like, your tech school, and you should then have a prep school. If you're a smart kid, you can go to the prep school. If you might be better working with your hands and you don't want to go to college, you go to the tech school. And there should be more tech schools out there than prep schools. They should only have a handful of prep schools. And I also think that they should bring back more boarding schools, and that should. Oh, dude, why not?
Oh, boarding schools are awful. They're conformist, and it's miserable. Absolutely miserable.
What's basically? Do you live on campus? You're basically at a boarding school right now.
No, boarding schools make you wear uniforms. They make you.
Not all of them have to do that. You can change that.
Okay, but at a young age, you should be with your parents unless you don't have any or they're awful.
That's the thing. Like a lot of people with single mothers and stuff, they'd probably be better off sending their kid to a boarding school, and that's why what was it? The Milton S. Hershey School in Pennsylvania. That's a boarding school for poor parents, and it does pretty successful from what I understand.
Well, yeah, I think they should be doing boarding schools for that. I think they should, from a marketing standpoint, that's where my mind kind of runs at. They shouldn't call it a boarding school. I know it's going to sound kind of PC, but they need to reframe it to something that's more...
Call it fucking Hogwarts.
Yes! Call it Hogwarts. You're going to learn magic. You're going to become a wizard.
Well, like that, they live in a fucking boarding school. Go and paint boarding schools as like fucking, Hogwarts. Parents will go and love to do that shit.
Yeah.
But
Well,
no, I think it's very useful because it makes people who might live chaotic lives and get into crime. They don't have that as much if they're in a boarding school. As long as it's like a decent boarding school and you get people like to treat it decently, and you get like because if you're a poor kid, you might not have food at home.
yeah.
Your parents might be doing drugs. It might not be a good place to concentrate. They can go and monitor your fucking video game usage. They can monitor your junk food. It would solve a lot. It would like help with the obesity epidemic. It would help with video game addiction. It would help with like a lot of issues caused by parents not raising their kids right.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that all schools. I don't think all schools should do this, but I think that there should be more of them because
Okay.
how many boarding schools do you even hear about?
Not many. But I think also what you're going to have more, and this may not be applying to those type of kids, but it does in some ways, is a lot more schooling is going to be done online. Online classes are perfectly fine. They're not perfect yet, but you look at Khan Academy, and that fucking thing has saved my ass so many times in math. Taught it better than the math teachers. If you could have like those ads you get on YouTube for Masterclass, where you'll have like Aaron Sorkin teaching you how to write scripts, Hans Zimmer teaching you how to write music. Like, can you imagine if you had stuff like that that's more accessible to people? It's like almost like a public good, where you had these experts, the people that are the best of the best in the business, teaching you how to do things. Like if you had Trump teaching you business, teaching you econ, that would be
the problem.
Yeah.
The problem with that is when you're like we're all in college, so that's a lot. There's some people who might like we're not exactly the perfect audience, like for the regular kid, because you get a lot of kids out there who would not pay it. Like I knew some people took like online classes and they would just screw off.
Well, yeah, but this is. I mean, kids do that in school normally.
Like,
but
I think
if it's somebody cool like LeBron James teaching you how to do, English, people would be like, they would tune into that.
Maybe, but I think, right? Like, I think eventually for some kids that will be the option, but I think for a lot of people, like especially younger kids, they won't be able to really benefit from that. Like, having PewDiePie teach them like mathematics or something. Like, I don't think that's going to happen right now because what would have to happen? You're going to have a school place because, like I mentioned, a lot of these kids live in chaotic homes and their parents, they're not going to be able to go and keep them 24/7. So to drop them off at like a learning academy where they'd be given a computer. And I think like down to the human level, it's like there's something missing when you you don't have that human to human interaction.
Oh yeah. Well, that's where it's to integrate something else maybe. If they need that human interaction, you do like what they do in China, where how we had the problem here where they say, oh, the schools in Philly are shit because they have shit teachers because all the good teachers don't want to live there. What do they do in China is they do it remotely. They have a virtual classroom where they're all the kids are sitting in the classroom, but on the screen, they have a professor live streaming the lecture from somewhere else where she can see the kids, interact with the kids can interact with her. She's just not physically in that classroom, but she can still interact with them.
In an ideal world, I think that would be great. However, I remember my time in like middle school, and there would be so much shit going on in that class. Like, you'd be throwing around like we had a substitute there who had no backbone, and it would probably be basically like that. People throwing like tampons around the classroom, drawing dicks on the wall.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah,
like that's probably what's going to happen, especially in these like inner cities where you get kids who might not be the the cream of the crop in these classrooms. You're going to have like someone you have to, and I mean they can do this too, and that probably would be a better return on investment. Go and hire someone for like a lot less money than a teacher and just have them kind of monitor the class.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you could have a class monitor, or maybe this is something you only do in like high school or something. I don't know. I'm just saying.
See, this is why I'd like for those situations, I'd rather send them to a boarding school. That would solve the problems with that stuff because then they'd be able to be disciplined at the boarding school. And I'd prefer the boarding school to be single gender as well because then that would eliminate a lot of the issues.
Oh, you want to bring back sexism in America?
I do think single gender schools are very beneficial. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
I actually,
Yeah, I'd agree with, because people get too distracted. Like people get too distracted.
looking
very
at
easily.
Jenny's ass, and they're like,
They're
ugh.
like, oh my god, look, I'd love to. Like, when you're supposed to be learning, y equals what, Timmy? Y equals, I'd really like to get with Heather and give her a like, no, it's like, come on. Like just separate them. Stick to this. Yeah,
But will this create incels?
No.
Well, there's incels already. It's not going to change
like,
that.
yeah.
No. What I'm saying
You know what they
is,
did back in the day? You know what they did back, like, because my mom went to a single gender school. They go and have, like, meetups after school, and they had, like, dances where they go and have the sister school or the brother school meet up. And that's how you go and engage with the other sex. After school activities. And you could even have, like, a courtyard. Okay, so let's picture this. You have, like, the property, and then you have the boys' school on the left and the girls' school on the right, or however way you want to do it. And then after you're done your academics for the day, you could go and meet, or maybe even at lunch. That'd probably be bad too. I don't know. But after you're done the academics, you can go and see them after school. Not when you're in the learning environment, though, because that could create distraction. From both
maybe,
boys.
but at the same time, like I mean, maybe I'm an exception to the rule here, but I was never distracted when there were girls in the room. Like, it's just girls.
Dude, then it becomes, and then drama happens, and people doing things in the school building, and
Drama's gonna happen no matter what you do. Like, it's not.
oh yeah, but there's going to be less people having sex in the school.
Well, they're
I mean,
gonna do that anyway. Like, I don't think that's gonna decrease
if they're
it.
not in the school, it's going to be a lot harder to go out if there's no women in school to have sex with. I mean, you get some gay guys or something, but that's probably not going to happen as much. Just generally, especially since people are probably keeping an eye on them, being like, oh, there's Jimmy over here. What's he doing with Bobby in the closet?
In the
I reckon you keep an eye on those two boys.
What was that?
Be like, oh, like, see, like, it would be less of a distraction because a lot more people are heterosexual than homosexual.
Okay.
And if it happens after school, then it's less of a liability, like on the school itself, and there'll be less drama.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think the gender thing's that big of a deal.
Oh, and the bathroom price, it would be a lot easier too with the bathroom. Because then you'd have all single gender bathrooms. You cut down like that. You only need half the bathroom.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to worry about putting tranny bathrooms in schools. Wouldn't matter.
Yeah, see, that would be the only issue, but that's a society-made issue, and that could be addressed.
Yeah.
You send them to ones. I don't even know how. Like that's a whole nother topic. But I do think that boarding schools are not as terrible. Like think more like Hogwarts, less like Brick on the Wall.
Or Dead Poet Society.
I love that movie. That was a good
I
movie.
know, it's a great movie, but the boarding school was awful. Except Robin Williams, but like everybody else. Okay, everybody else. Yeah, it wasn't, but people were I mean, maybe it's a type
boarding
of
school does not have to be a super preppy boarding school. It can almost be like a summer camp.
I know, and that's what I want it to be. But again, I'd only want that for people that have shitty families, because I would never send my kid to a boarding school ever.
There should be an option for that. If your kid's a dumbass and he's like goofing off in class, just send him to the boarding school.
That should be the parents' job to fix that.
Well, no, yeah, it would be.
Yeah, how's that parenting thing going lately?
Well, I know parents are being fucking dumbasses. We need to change that too. But yeah, if the parents are shit, then the plan B is you can get your kid to a boarding school. But what if the parents don't do that?
If you're in a shitty area and all the schools suck, just send them to a boarding school somewhere and then have them drop them off at the parents' house. That would. See, then they could go and that would stop the amount of shitty schools because you just send them off to a boarding school. It could be far away because you only have to go there once every couple months.
Right.
And that way, the inner city Philadelphia schools would just get shipped out to, I don't know, somewhere else with a good boarding school. And they could hire the best teachers or not the best, but, cost a much better teacher than the inner city ones.
Yeah.
And then on another plus, if they don't have any like schools in the cities, and there's less buses you're gonna have to worry about.
Yeah.
And it would prepare people for college, because that's another big. Boarding schools should probably prepare you a lot more for living on your own.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, I think also they should do like your idea, which is Penn State should have a like not really a summer session, but a summer camp where maybe 1 week you try out one set of classes, the next week you try another set of classes, and it's not just things you like; it has to be things you dislike. So everybody, I think, should you get some freedom obviously to pick some stuff that you want, but I think in between that they should force you to do stuff you like and dislike, because there's some stuff that I thought I would dislike. It turns out I didn't, or I thought I'd like, and it turns out I really didn't, I think that's another thing you can do, because you waste so much money and time, like you were saying, trying to figure your shit out when you should do that before, so college can go by quicker and you can get out and start making money.
Yeah, but the schools like you wasting money on them.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
See, colleges are the most expensive time in your life to go and like not be decided.
Yeah.
Probably like either that, or if you're like on some sort of fancy jet somewhere, but most people don't have to deal with that. Like trying to go, like $100,000, going to figure out where your next destination is. Well, but no, like I think that college, like it is, like that's a problem too. Like you should not be told like, oh, you can do whatever you want when you like while you're in the middle of college. Oh, you can change your major. It's so easy. Just give us another 20 grand.
Yeah.
It'll change that for you right quick.
Well, that's another thing that I was going to bitch about was fucking bullshit majors, BS degrees. I'm not talking about the actual BS degrees. I'm talking about pure fucking bullshit degrees. Like, and I've told this to people, don't take a major in anything that ends in studies. It's just a waste of time. If it's, women's studies, if it's African American studies, if it's medieval studies, whatever the studies is, it's a fucking waste of time. It's a piece of shit. Don't do it. There's plenty of other majors that are useful. Advertising's useful. Everybody's always going to need to hire advertising people. Business, I heard you grumble. Business is useful.
Very useful that you need to go and have prior experience before even getting into it.
Okay, I think he's lying about that.
You don't need a gender studies degree to work at Walmart. Shit, you can do that right out of high school.
Yeah. Remember I went on that rant in the group me where I was like, if you major anything in studies, you're gonna be at Walmart saying, hey, you're gonna be a Walmart greeter saying, hey, get your shit and get out.
Yeah, so there's some truth to that, and the thing too is like they need to go and tell you the return on investment, like before you go and take your major, like this is what you can expect.
Oh
like,
yeah, that should be a law, a federal mandated law saying every college must say this.
Well, yeah, like the problem is for a degree that doesn't really exist yet, but like for most degrees, like gender studies, you have a pretty good idea. Or medieval studies, like, hey, you're gonna need to go to grad school to do this, and they should factor that in, and they should try to get you to grad school as fast as possible.
Well, I think grad school for most things is another fucking con job. Just a waste of time and money. They're trying to get more out of you. I mean, for some things it can be useful.
You can make a significantly more amount of money if you go to grad school.
Yeah, I just think I honestly think for most people, they're just trying to get more money out of you.
Well, no, like you get you can become a manager. You go to grad school. You get there's a lot of benefit to that. Maybe, I wouldn't lump that in with any of the other stuff, but you need to go to grad school if you want to be a doc, if you want to go and teach a class. Then you can teach a class on the side while you're working somewhere. Like, one of my managers does that. That's a great business move to go for, at least for him, because that'll pay for itself in enough time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
that's my rants, though. Do you guys have rants?
Yeah. See, my major upset, like my major at the moment is these like newspeak words that a lot of the left is using, and I think the newspeak word of the week would be there's a few of these. It would be gaslighting. This word's pissed me off for a while because I keep seeing it used, and people like it was originally it's like triggered, but like triggered is kind of funny, but gaslighting they'll like flip out at you. Even conservatives will use this. Like it's supposed to be like. The typical thing of gaslighting is it came back to a story where someone goes slightly lower the the brightness of the gas lamp like every day, and the person would go and think they're crazy, and then eventually it's like fucking dim, and they're like, oh, there's something going on, but there's nothing going on. That's basically what like gaslighting is. It's a thing done in like relationships,
Oh.
toxic relationships. Like it's a bad thing, and then it's been like reused by the Newspeak, committee of the left. Like everything's fucking gaslighting now, and it pisses me off. Like if you go and defend Trump, oh, you're gaslighting white nationalists.
Yeah.
Like you see this being used all the fucking time. And I doubt many people even know what they're talking about. It's hurting people who are in these relationships because they make it such a fucking joke, make it a fucking meme, and it's a serious issue. But it's just something that you haven't heard. Like people didn't really use politically. Like at least I didn't hear them use it like 10 years ago. But nowadays it's pretty common.
Yeah, I've seen it too, and it fucking triggers me every time I see the word gaslighting, because they use it as an excuse to discredit your opinion. They're like, "Oh, you're just gaslighting. Bye bye," and it's just a term that just sounds annoying. Gaslighting, like just saying it annoys me.
It's used by the left significantly more than the people on the right.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and they're trying to get and create this this lexicon that's ever expanding to mean things of people that like on the right wing that they don't like. Like, oh, he's gaslighting, Holocaust deniers or eco terrorists or something stupid.
Eco fascists.
Yeah, it's just like I just hate that term so much. And it's being used everywhere. Like I got kicked out of groups before because they accused me of gaslighting. I had to go and be like, "What the heck did I do? I didn't gaslight. Did there a different definition?" And apparently there is. Like I'm sorry, I was never dating you, so I can't really be gaslighting you. I'm sorry, but it's just getting so bad these days. And I might as well just go with all of them because I can rant on a few of the recent ones I've seen. So we have gaslighting. We have tone deaf. That's another one that pisses me off. Like it's making fun of deaf people.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, God.
I hate troll. I hate when they call you a troll. Like,
that's
okay.
I love that word.
No, I like it in certain instances. Let's take let's use an example of the Captain Marvel movie that just fucking came out, right?
Right.
This movie has changed my opinion on movie sites forever, like or movie review sites. I'm sorry. So when Captain Marvel came out, or like up to it coming out, there were people that were like completely shitting on the movie, right? And so Rotten Tomatoes took out the pre comments, right? The pre what the fuck is that? Like the pre-reviews, like the fan reviews.
Oh yeah, the
fan reviews.
Pre-screenings.
Right. So they took it out. They took them out because a whole bunch of people were shitting on Captain Marvel. And then when the movie came out, people were still not like, the reviews were still not hot. So they decided to take out what they called trolls. But some of these trolls ended up actually seeing the movie and
just happened to not like it. There's a lot of stuff that, it's not for everybody. Some people don't like it. I personally don't like politics in my freaking action movies unless it's directly in like if it's a Steven Seagal and the bad guy works for the government and he's selling secrets and Steven Seagal's got to try to stop this guy before he sells the secrets or whatever. Got it. Okay. But I don't want to hear these like political undertones of like, you can't do this because you're a girl. Like, no, it's 2019. Nobody thinks that way anymore, right? Everybody's like, look, you can do anything you want to. This is America. This is America country.
This is It's ridiculous. And like, so with Captain America, there was a couple of scenes, and yeah, I'll play spoiler. Why the hell not?
Well, I'm seeing on Sunday. No spoilers, please.
Okay, one spoiler. Give me one spoiler.
Okay, is it minor?
One. Okay, so there, Captain Marvel. She's at a I think she's at like a bar.
Oh.
This dude with a leather jacket on a bike is like, hey, you should smile more. Like, nobody says that shit.
Yeah, nobody
anymore.
says that.
Nobody says that shit. I don't even remember. Like, I'm old as fuck, and I don't remember people saying that shit back in the 90s and shit.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I'm like, look, just.
Well, that's because these things are made by out-of-touch elitists. That's the simplest way to put it. They have this idea of what America's like, but they've never actually seen the reality of America.
But going back to the original topic, they're calling they're blanketly calling everybody like that doesn't like this movie a troll. The trolls aren't gonna win. I'm like, dude, this isn't. At what point does it go from being trolls to just suppressing people that just don't like your fucking movie? Like,
yeah. Another good example is Amy Schumer got Netflix to get rid of their rating system because she said, because everybody shit on her shitty comedy or stand-up bit, and she just blamed it on alt-right trolls and Russian bots. Everybody I don't like is a Russian bot, and everybody I don't like is an alt-right troll in their minds.
But like with the movie review thing, like the movie review sites like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, it took me actually looking it up to figure out Rotten Tomatoes is 70% owned by Comcast, right? So when you look up like these movies and you notice that there's not a Universal film that has a fucking rating of under 80, like something's up. Like, there's no way Comcast is gonna sandbag their own fucking movies. And the other 30%, I think it's owned by Flickster, which is like
it's an app.
It's but it's owned by Warner Brothers, I think it is.
Okay.
So
there you go.
So already I'm like, well, this isn't a legit.
Whoa, this is interesting. The critic score for Captain Marvel is at 79%. The audience score jumped up to a 62%. It was at Rotten level before.
That's because they've been sinking all the negative views.
It used to be a Rotten
reviews, yeah. But this is what they've been doing, and I think that's probably what's going to happen from here on out. I think you're going to see a lot of like corporate, fixing of these review systems. Because big corporate owns a lot of these review sites. Even IMDb is owned by Amazon. It's like,
oh, I know.
Yeah,
shit.
You didn't know. Yeah, they don't tell you that shit. They're like, no, oh, well, and that's why whenever I see a movie and it's like, oh, this got rated fresh, I'm like, fuck that shit. There's no way I'm gonna believe that this movie's legit just by what a corporate owned site is telling me. Like,
right,
fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find the screenshot I took when I had that Rotten score to compare it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, I think I found it. Yeah, it used to be at 57%.
Yep. It used to be. I think it used to be even lower than that.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
But the only thing, to be fair, is that sometimes it takes a while for more reviews to come in for it to change. But I know what you mean. I take Rotten Tomatoes with a grain of salt. The only good thing, it's a system I love and hate.
Yeah.
'Cause I like it because it takes all the reviews to get a general consensus, and you can tell if you're going to have a good time or not. The problem is people use that percentage as a rating system. There's a big difference.
But they sell it like it's kind of being sold as like a rating system.
Yes.
Like it's a beacon of because a lot of these movies and their advertisements they have, look, it was rated fresh by Rotten Tomatoes.
They know that affects people's decisions.
Yeah, and the whole thing's bullshit. And I'm like, and it's like, this week opened my eyes. I would have never seen how Rotten Tomatoes operates until this week.
Yeah, well, what
know?
opened my eyes also was The Last Jedi. That is a movie where critics loved it like 90%. Audiences had like fucking 40%. Like, it's just a piece of shit. And you watch this movie, it's objectively bad. It is objectively bad. Pretty fucking bad.
Pretty fucking bad.
And Alex and I railed against it when we did a review of it. And that's where I realized there's probably some definite collusion going on in the movie industry.
Oh, yeah.
And I had suspected it before, but I've never seen it so blatant. And you're seeing it more frequently where on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics will love it, audiences will hate it, or audiences will love it and critics will hate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they used to be pretty much about the same. A little bit more, a little bit less maybe. And the ratings would definitely change. But this is pretty blatant. You know, it's because reviewers get kickbacks. They want to keep getting more pre-screenings because it helps them, helps their business. Because then if other people get the pre-screenings and they don't, they're going to start going down the tubes. So they gotta clean this system up because it's pretty bad, and they're weaponizing Rotten Tomatoes. That's a good way to put it. They're weaponizing Rotten Tomatoes so that they can sell the movies they want to sell. Yeah, but anyway, if anybody else wants to go on a rant, but I just saw this thing in a group me. I don't even know if this is true. But it says Missouri court rules it's okay to call a gay employee cocksucker and ask if he has AIDS. What the fuck? Is this real?
What was the website?
It says Vice.
It would be Vice.
I know. I don't even know if
this
it's
is true. I don't trust
true.
anything on Vice. I mean, in what context was this used? Was this like the boss? Like doing an interview question, asking if he
he calls, hey cocksucker, do you have AIDS? Like, fuck. Like, that's not gonna. What is this? I could understand.
I'm sure that what employer is this?
I don't know. I don't even know if this is real. I thought, oh, we're gonna get a kick out of this one.
I could see it right now in the HR office. Hi, I would like to file a complaint right now. And then he's like, hey, do you have AIDS, cocksucker? And like, what the
fuck? Fuck yeah! I was about to say this company must not have an HR department. They would have got shit canned by now.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
fucking hell. Yeah, it's just,
there's got to be some context to this shit.
Yeah, it's one of those headlines that's too good to be true.
Yeah, and this being the last year has just completely. Actually, you know what? Since Trump won the election, I have been completely
red pill.
Not. I would say, like, my eyes have been opened to how shitty the media is. Like, how unbelievably shitty. And it's
gotten worse.
And over the course of my life, I've been, like, reliant on the fucking media.
Yeah.
Like, I've grown up, and it's been a part of my life. Like, it's been, like, how I got all the current information and, you know, the stories and what's going on with current events and, you know, with business and politics and all that stuff. And then over the last, like, since Trump took office, it's like, it's complete shit. Like, it is complete and utter dog shit. It's all, like, biased bullshit. Like, the mainstream media, like, it's like, you know, with MSNBC and CNN and Fox News, and you got all these sites that are just agenda driven and trying to Clockwork Orange brainwash you into submission. Like, it's nuts.
Well, what Trump has done is simply just expose who they are, and that's what's woken people up. And he's also called them out for it by calling them fake news when they are fake news. The thing that really woke me up, and people forget about most of this, but the WikiLeaks that came out during the election, where you would have journalists, or quote-unquote journalists, one of which was actually moderating one of the debates, that were colluding with politicians. And, for example, the New York Times would send Bill Clinton articles saying, hey, is this good? Do you want to make any edits? You don't fucking do that as a journalist. You don't let your subject matter.
Like, your wife's running for president. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's just you don't have your fucking subject matter edited because they're gonna edit shit that should be in there that's newsworthy or make it look good for them. So that was just one of the examples I remember. There's a whole shit ton more. It's so bad. It's bigger than what people imagine, and it's depressing because they control the flow of information. But thankfully, alternative media, the internet, is becoming a much more dominating force, and they're scared of that because look, Alex Jones and Joe Rogan got 10 million views. That's more than all the views on any fucking cable news show all week.
Honestly, I feel like how much longer? Like, honestly, how much longer are these news companies gonna survive? Like, as far as mainstream media, either they here's my opinion. Either these sites like MSNBC, Fox News, either they're gonna fail, or they're gonna be just falsely propped up by everything else. Like, you know, MSNBC, right? They're owned by Comcast, Universal, NBC Universal, right? I feel like, dude, if they fail, it's going to be disastrous. So the rest of the corporation is basically going to kind of hold it up. I feel like it's going to hold it up because the Comcast is like a multi-billion fucking dollar conglomerate. So it's like if they have one failing entity, it's not going to break them. But if it's like, you know, like CNN, like, you can't do this shit. That is your. Well, actually, they're owned by Time Warner too, so it's not like, you know, or AT&T now. But like,
well, I think if they don't adapt quick enough, they're gonna start failing. But if they do adapt, they're gonna just stay afloat. For example, Fox is now doing a Fox Nation thing, which is like a streaming service of Fox stuff. Well,
Fox is still doing what? To be fair, Fox is still doing pretty good because they're like now you could argue you could argue whether they're, you know, whether they're quality content or not, but one thing's for sure, they're always viewership is always up with them. We're always looking at like always looking at the television ratings, and Fox News pretty much runs the table on everything. Like, and so I mean, I wonder if it's just like with MSNBC, CNN, if it's just somebody, if it's just they're just trying to get an agenda across, or if they're just trying to, like, you know, do that Clockwork Orange brainwashing to the people. It's like, well, is that more important than revenue? Like building advertising revenue.
Revenue is everything.
But yeah.
And brainwashing, yeah. They kind of go. I see what you mean.
And when you're owned, and the problem is when you're owned by a multi-revenue streamed conglomerate, you can afford to not, like, your news station can afford to fucking fail because you got so much out there that's pushing it. That can keep it up, but like,
they'll just prop up a new one. Be like, oh, this is totally not us.
Or
they'll buy it up. You know, the big boys will buy it up. But I see what you mean. Alex, what the fuck are you sending me?
This was a breaking development. Have you seen like the Quarters reaction to Back to the Shooter thing?
Yeah, I heard because the shooters have subscribed to PewDiePie, like people are freaking out.
Yeah, they might like ban PewDiePie and 4chan and 8chan now, dude. This is
what he wanted. Fuck.
This is getting out of hand. This guy was trying to be like a fucking troll and just shut down everything.
He took it a bit too far, don't you think?
He did. Like, what's PewDiePie gonna do about this?
PewDiePie, like, you know, is put some tweets out saying, like, you know, it's bad that he's associated with me and all that, blah blah blah. I condemn him, blah blah blah.
PewDiePie has nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing people need to remember.
New Zealand is like, this makes no sense. He never told his supporters to go and like kill Muslims. He never said that. Like, I don't know why people are making it big. Like, see, this is the stuff where they're big, oh, well, he's gaslighting.
Yeah.
You know, I bet they said that in the, somewhere, one of the Twitter users. And then, like, they said they had a white supremacist hand signal, and it was actually the,
Was it the
ball
OK
tap
symbol?
No, it was a ball tap symbol, actually. He put it near his nuts.
Oh.
There's a difference.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. See,
What world have we gotten into these days where, like, the OK symbol, the ball tap symbol, that's apparently white supremacist because it's a dog whistle, another fucking word that I hate.
Fuck that term.
And the fucking dog whistle term. Like,
Trump is dog whistling to white nationalists when he says he wants to build a wall.
he's using coded language. Like, they're making shit out to be a lot more complicated than it is.
They're mind reading. They're projecting what they think Trump is saying. They're oh, he really means this into his mouth and saying, oh, he must mean this because this is what we think he's a racist. So everything he says must be that way. They're mind reading. They don't know his thoughts.
Well, the problem is these people are overeducated. They probably had like a gender studies degree or like some bullshit reporting degree where they had to go and like write a thesis on why Michael Jackson was some sort of like why he wasn't a rapist and explain like all this other bullshit. Or like have to go and write a thesis on why hens in the Middle Ages, were important to women's society. And then I had to go and make up all this bullshit for that. And they're like, oh, I can just go and make up all this bullshit for anything and it makes it right.
Well, these people see, and I'll give an example of this after. They see race and gender and homophobia, Islamophobia, all those obias in fucking everything. Everything is racist. Everything is sexist. For example, in this one class I was in, the TA graded a paper I did on Pink Floyd's The Wall music video. Or, sorry, Another Brick in the Wall music video. Where it has the boarding school, children basically marching and being put into machines and showing, the basic gist of the video was conformity. And it was an anti-conformist message and all that sort of stuff.
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking random. I get it.
No, I don't know, but it's in the song. It's okay. It's relevant. But, it's... the thing was, I wrote this whole paper on how it had, basically... It was a persuasion propaganda class, and I was talking about how it has these persuasion techniques and uses techniques to send a message of anti-conformity and other stuff. But the professor goes, or the TA, I should say, goes, in her critique of it, she says, you made a lot of great points, but there's some of the stuff that you should have mentioned, like why are all the people in it boys and why aren't there girls? You should be talking about gender. I'm like, the fuck does that have to do with it? You're seeing gender in everything. I didn't even notice it. I didn't give a shit.
Wasn't The Wall written about a boys' boarding school?
Yes!
Well, how the fuck does he know what goes on in a girls' boarding school? That's like saying, "Oh, I went to male prison. Female prison's definitely like this." No, it's fucking not. It's if you haven't lived it. And if he did write about a women's boarding school, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, he's obviously sexist. He's trying to go and take women's experiences and living it as his own." Like
he's mansplaining.
I watched Orange Is the New Black, so I pretty much know what women's prisons are all about.
Yeah. I just
like
fucking hate it. Why do we have to look for gender and race in everything? Can we just look at people for what they are and ideas?
Because people are crazy. That's pretty much what it is.
That's just fucking annoying. Like, that's one of the things. I'm going off on another rant again, but it just, it annoys me. Because I see people as people, not as this fucking bullshit of, because this is what the left always does. They divide people up by race and gender and sexual orientation. Stop it. Just stop it. We can acknowledge it. We can talk about. But stop dividing people up into these groups like that.
Well, division sells.
It does. Yeah, it does. But, there's certain things of unity that do work, like, national unity or patriotism. We're all Americans. As Trump would say, we all bleed the same colors of patriotism. And it's like that's what it's about. That's it, That's what you should be pushing for. But the left is, gained a lot of support because they say Republicans are racist. Republicans hate you because you're brown. Republicans hate you because you're a woman. Kavanaugh's a gang rapist. Trump's a racist. He hates, Mexicans. He called them rapists and murderers. And then that's how they, try to brainwash minority groups. And they've been successful at it, and we need to change that tide. That's why I like people like Candace Owens. But now Candace Owens is a white supremacist that dog whistled and gaslit a alt-right eco-fascist terrorist. It's fucking clown world.
Yeah, man.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's about most of the stuff for the week. Oh, what about Michael Jackson? We never talked about that.
Yeah, I watched a bit of it last night when I was wrapping up some stuff. I got like 45 minutes into the documentary Leaving Neverland, and I don't know what to believe, but there's some stuff there that makes me uncomfortable. That's all I'll say. Because I haven't seen the full thing. I haven't seen both sides completely.
So I watched it twice.
Wow, that's long. It's like 4 hours, those two parts. Yeah.
So I was like, well, there was one night where I couldn't sleep where I was just like, screw it. So, yeah, happens. So, assuming. So, like, okay, so I'm torn because, like, as a human being, you want to, like,
you want to love MJ.
Listen, you want to believe, you want to believe people. But, like, the more you look at things, the more you see things, the more questions start coming, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so this dude, so I don't know about the other person if I believe I'm still undecided about the other guy. I forget what the one dude's name is, but the Wade Robeson, the dancer.
Oh, the boy dancer.
Huh?
The little kid that danced with Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's full of shit. And
really?
So that's just my opinion. I feel like, so both of these kids, so both of these dudes, when Michael Jackson was going to court, right? They lied under oath.
Right? What did they lie about, though?
Say if indeed, let me just reset that one.
That's fair.
If Michael Jackson did indeed do what is being accused, right? Mm-hmm. Then these grown men at the time, because at the time, when the trial happened with the Michael Jackson trial, they were like, what, 20 or something like that? Or they're like grown men. They lied on the stand and said, "Oh, he didn't molest us. Whatever. He's just a wonderful guy who does things for children, whatever." Only until your career has kind of faded. Your career has faded away. You got in financial problems. And after, like, a couple of years after Michael Jackson's already passed, now you want to sue the estate, right? You want to sue the estate. And it's not like you came clean. You didn't come clean, like, just to come clean. There was a fucking lawsuit tied to it. So, like, when I look at that, you can't help but have questions. You can't help it. Mm-hmm. The information's there. It's right there in front of you. You can't help but have questions. And then so it's like, well, who the fuck am I going to believe? And it's not like...
That's what I'm feeling.
And it's like, at best, my opinion of Michael hasn't changed than before this thing came out. When I look at all of that, the end opinion about Michael Jackson hasn't changed from before I watched it. Like, it's like, well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Who the fuck knows? We may never know. Right?
The only thing I find very strange, and this is documented, is that he hung around this young child a lot.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's a little weird.
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course it's fucking weird.
And I don't know why. Because he could. Because, well, Michael Jackson at the time, I think, didn't have a wife and didn't have kids. Maybe he was longing for that, or maybe he did have some fucked up. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
Another thing, because I was looking this up too. The doctor of Michael Jackson had said, and I don't know if this is true or not, but he did say it was either in a book or an interview or something like that, that Michael Jackson was chemically castrated at a younger age to keep his voice or whatever, like
Okay,
childlike. So like I'm just saying, like I don't know. I'm like, look, I mean, it's like we're never gonna know. And another thing, right? So a couple things I'd have to say. One, Wade Robinson, if either way, this dude's a piece of shit. So either if it's true and Michael Jackson's a molester, then you lied under oath.
Yeah.
And essentially allowed a pedophile to molest more children.
Yeah.
Which makes you a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then if he didn't do it, then you're a liar and you're trying to smear somebody's name for money.
Yeah.
And that makes you a piece of shit too. Either way this thing plays out, you're a piece of shit. Right?
It's a catch-22 piece of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. And then second, what fucking parent
lets their
kids go out?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you want to go to Neverland Ranch alone with this old fucking dude that has a history of being rumored to be touching little boys?
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, go ahead. Go
I can see parents doing it, but at the same time, I can't. You know?
No, like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, I know. That was my immediate thought too.
One of the fucking. I don't know if did you watch it? How much of it did you watch?
I was 45 minutes into, I think.
Spoiler! One of the dads killed himself.
Oh.
Right? So I guess one of the dads, he had mental health stuff going on or whatever, and he tried to get and I guess Michael tried to get Wade to Los Angeles because he was in Australia.
Yeah.
He was still in Australia.
I was at the Australia part. Yeah.
So he had him go to Los Angeles, and dad kills himself, right? So you as a mother allowed this child to get molested, and then you left your husband there, fucking, in his mental health weakness to commit suicide. Like, the whole thing is just.
It's strange.
I'm wondering. I have to ask myself: are there any innocent people in this fucking story?
Yeah.
I'm really. The whole thing is fucked.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I'm not coming out at this wanting to hate or love Michael Jackson at all. Like, look, Thriller's a great album. I love it.
Yeah.
And, Billie Jean's a great song. Thriller's a great song. Beat's a great song. Okay. But I'm still going to look at this for what it is, and I just don't know. And I know I haven't seen the whole documentary, but I don't know.
Yeah, no. And then Oprah. Okay, so Oprah had.
I heard she had a thing. Yeah.
She had a thing where she had the two kids who were the two guys that claimed he abused them, and then the director of this thing, and he was like, and she was like, she said something like, "It's time to let go of Michael Jackson." And I'm like, look, so the whole storyline doesn't put me any differently. Like, when I was like, okay, so there was accusations, so there was weird rumors being circulated. There's there were weird circulating rumors in 2003. I mean, I'm not. I mean, that
Nothing's
doesn't change.
changed, yeah.
That doesn't fucking change.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, that's not enough. You better give me something, especially when both of those people fucking lied, okay, in a courtroom. When you lie in a courtroom, now you're going to need to give me something more than what the fuck you got. If you're going to ask me to put somebody, Because yeah, weird proclivities and speculation do not equal guilt in this fucking country. Well, I mean, in the court of liberal public opinion, yes, but you know, you have to be able to, you know,
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
you got to take it with a huge grain of fucking salt, and that's not enough. It's not enough for me.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.